and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Such a morning, right?
I'm April Martinez.
I'm Sabrina Daly.
I'm Carlos Na.
And I'm Carlene Tun.
And welcome to our special Children's Parliament right here on Open Your Eyes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Well, we are in a different location
I am
this
happy
morning.
about this location.
Of course, because you got to wake up a bit later. But yes, we are here in Belmopan, streaming our special Open Your Eyes edition of Children's Parliament 2023. We've been talking about it all week, looking forward today, and now we're here.
We are here indeed, and it's not just Sabrina and I this morning joining you in your homes today. We also have our special guest host. Good morning, Carlos.
Our co-hosts, we should say.
Host, indeed. Why don't you introduce yourselves to the audience?
Good morning. My name is Carlos Na, and I am representing the Leader of Opposition in the House of Representatives.
Wonderful.
Good morning. My name is Carlene Tun, and in the Senate, I am representing the Vice President.
And you both are from
Orange Rock.
Yes.
And you're both 16 years old.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Children's Parliament for a second, and talking about the rights of you both voicing your opinions, what you know about the legalities in the way that Belize works. Why go into the Children's Parliament?
Okay, so it's apart from you expressing your thoughts, your opinions and stuff, you're actually heard by people who care what you have to say. So I feel like it's a great opportunity for you to speak out to what you think is right or what you think you believe is right. So that's why it's really important to allow youths to be able to, speak for what they believe is right.
Wonderful.
Let's get your take, Carlos.
I totally agree with what Carlene said, and for me, I really love the opinions that each one of us bring from our different constituencies, from Corozal to Toledo. Each one bring a little juice to the mix.
I love that,
like
juice
that.
to the mix. Now, I mean, I love your inputs and your opinion, of course, as you mentioned, the importance of being a part of this, the importance of recognizing the voices of young people.
Yeah.
As you would know, April and our co-hosts, this event is a commemoration of World Children's Day. Of course, Children's Parliament is not the first one we've hosted here in Belize. This, I believe, is our fourth one.
Yes. Yes.
And it gathers young people from all over the country to learn more about the governance system, learn more about the House of Representatives. I understand we have persons that are senates this morning.
Yes.
We also have opposition leader here with us. I'm looking forward to who will be the Prime Minister. And I want to get your take on the experience leading up to this day, because we learned that you guys were able to get some training of behind the scenes of what you should be doing when you get up there in the seats, but you also had to learn about the governance process, a bit about what takes place inside those walls. Let's talk about that.
Well, for the House of Representatives, we had to discuss on its structure, on how the things go when it comes to speaking, for example, the rebuttal and what the ruling party says. That is really an experience that I like, because I never knew about that before. So that's something new that I learned. And
Definitely.
to listen to other people's opinions, basically, because right now, each one of us, we bring our little juice, like I said, and it's really nice to hear what the rich ideas that the youth are coming up with today. And it's really inspiring, and it's really hopeful to see what will the new generation bring in the future.
Let me Sorry.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, what is it that you both stand for when it comes to the legal rights? In this particular, I know you're representing Vice President, you're representing Leader of the Opposition, but there is also a mandate, right, that you all have to bring to the table. So what is it that you are representing? What is it that you are standing up for? Yes.
Basically, okay. Yes. So for the Vice President, he usually takes up when the President is not there. But since you have your time to give your speech has to come from, the age of legal marriage should be, right now it's 16, so we're changing it to 18.
Okay, so that's what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's our topic. Yeah.
Okay. I wanna go back to my question that I presented to Carlos, because I was asking about your experience so far leading up to today and learning about the governance process. Before you decided to be a part of Children's Parliament this year, Were you ever interested in what took place in government?
Yes, I was. Sorry.
We want both of your opinions on this.
Okay, so from my part, yes, I have always been a person who would like be interested in speaking because I love to speak. I love to bring my ideas to the table, you know, for people to hear me. So yes, I was interested, but I didn't really know how to get there.
Okay.
So when I feel like now that it's the Children's Parliament is something that's getting known, so many people, many youths are getting to know like, oh, you can do this and you have to apply. And that's how I got to know about it.
Okay, and yourself?
For me, I really loved learning about my country. That's one thing I love. I love social studies. And to hear the things that are happening right now and to focus on those issues that we are facing. We as the youths coming up with ideas to solve that, I felt inspired. And I'm not only representing myself and not only my constituency, but I'm my class.
Yeah.
Because I know in social studies class, we have some rich discussions and I'm representing them with ideas in the House of Representatives.
You're representing your school as well.
Definitely,
Yes.
Carlos. I totally agree with you.
So we're talking about what you're learning, your experiences, and so forth. You said that you didn't really know much about the governing system until you started
until here.
Children's Parliament. So let's talk about what you've actually understood about the governing system outside of school. You're somebody that likes to give your opinions. You're somebody that wants to be able to have these rich discussions. But what did you know about how the House of
What
Representatives
did
worked?
I not know?
What did you know about it
Okay, what did I know about
Yes.
it before? Just that I guess you voice your opinions, right? And like, but you have to know what you're talking about. You know, so you can't go there just to say, oh, like I want to say this and that. No, you have to have evidence of like the things that you
These
were
are things that you
saying.
knew before
This
the
is
Children's
yes,
Parliament?
before the
Okay.
Children's Parliament.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I know.
One thing I knew is that for me, when it comes to the Parliament, we always have to be respectful. So then both sides have to listen to one another and they have to try to understand even though they don't like the other people's opinions. But the thing is for you to understand and try to make a way to both to agree.
How do you see the National Assembly or the meetings that take place in the House versus how you all practice?
Okay, to say this, it's very different because okay, we're not really doing like the debate part of it, right? So we're presenting our speech and we're giving like the rebuttal and everything, but in a respectful manner, right? So if you have something to say about the person, of how the person is, that's not our intake on that. We very professional as youths, right? So we have a respect within each other. So.
Yeah.
What has the interaction been like with the other young persons that are parliamentarians
That
today?
is a great question. That is an awesome question, actually. During the camp days, it has been such an amazing experience because you get to know people and you can really be like inspired by a person's thoughts, or a person's how she or he thinks, right? So I feel like you're only open to so much within yourself. So once you have like a broad space to see like, oh, this person thinks so differently from what I think. And it's actually a great way to see like, you know, not everyone has the same thought.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can be open to so much more.
So I wanted to come back to the topic that you said, which is the legal age for marriage, right? How did that topic get chosen, and what kind of research did you all have to do for that?
How did that topic get chosen? We were deciding on different issues, and then the one most popular that we felt that we need to face
Was marriage.
was marriage.
Why?
For our youths, because we feel that many rural areas, we have a lot of little girls, young girls that cannot finish their education, and because they're already engaged and because they're already in a relationship, so we feel that it's sometimes they feel forced to do that,
Right.
because they're not financially stable or they're not pushed to their you know, to their best limits.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
You know, both of you guys are from Orange Walk. I want to know, have you learned of any scenarios like this exact one that you are advocating for in your very own district?
That's a great question for me. You want to answer that?
In one of the cases, and they would be hearing it in the House of Representatives. One of the ministers actually mentions it was when a young girl actually committed suicide because her mother went to the United States and left her abandoned because she had a baby.
And these are very real stories as well.
Yeah.
So these are not just sad stories, but they're also infringing on many rights of the child. You know, a right to education, a right to happiness, a right to a home, etc.
And if we don't put this to a stop, it's gonna affect our future generations. So
Yeah.
like, it's better to advocate for it right now that we can and we have like a voice to, than later when it's already too late to prevent.
So what I really want to get into, and I'm glad we're having this discussion. We're going to be having these discussions for the rest of the morning, Sabrina. But we do, as we're talking about this topic, as we're talking about the rights of the child, as we're talking about commemorating World Children's Day, here in Belize, we also have the Convention of the Rights to the Child, and what we should know, what we need to know. And I want to ask you this, Sabrina, as somebody that I was just talking to my parents about this the other day. What did you know in high school about the legal system? What were you taught and so forth? Did you know about the Convention of the Rights of the Child?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
I don't think that was something that we were taught in school.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we are children, so obviously that would concern us.
You should be talking about it, right?
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't. My memory does not recollect any conversation that would have included the CRC, and that's why I think it's so important that we have initiatives like this where we can make it a more common conversation, and where we have young people as young as 16, and I imagine even younger, that are familiar with their own rights as well.
I absolutely agree.
So we do have a special feature that we will be providing, and it will involve a young person explaining just that. What is the Conventions of the Rights of a Child, and why is it important for children to know this?
And I also wanted to say, Sabrina, that we really need to emphasize that rights and privileges are two separate things. Rights, you are deserving of these things. They should be given, granted to you. A privilege comes with some exclusion of what people might have and what people might have. So in the case of the Convention of the Rights of the Child, these are things that children should have. These are things that they are they're not supposed to be rewards, right? They're not supposed to, so children should be right to health, right to education, right to happiness, right to, they do deserve it. And so at the end of the day, the Convention on the Rights of the Child should be spoken about more often. This majority of our population,
Exactly.
So we're now going to go into that special feature of the Convention on the Rights of the Child.
Good morning, beautiful Belize. I am Richard Martinez, child parliamentarian, and I am here to inform you on 5 things you should know about the CRC. Number 1, the CRC states that all children have a right to live. Number 2, all children have these rights apply to all children, no matter their social, financial, or educational background. In other words, these rights are accessible to all children, no matter what. Thirdly, the government are duty bearers to ensure that no child endures any form of violence, negligence, or abuse. Number 4, participation is a right. All children have the right to speak about issues that may have a direct or indirect effect on their lives. And number 5, lastly, you get to play and enjoy your leisure time and engage in culturally enriching activities. And that concludes 5 things you should know about the CRC. Back to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Richard, for enlightening us on the Convention on the Rights of the Child. We are here at the National Assembly Building in Belmopan, bringing to you the special Open Your Eyes feature on the Children's Parliament that will be taking place today. But Sabrina, we got to take a break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we'll have more OIE Child Parliamentarian Edition. Stay with us.
Gimme 5! The biggest giveaway show of the year is back with new prizes and surprises. The fun starts at 8 p.m. on Monday, December 4th, and ends on Friday, December 8th. Gimme 5 coupons are now available for 25 cents each on our Channel 5 website and at our studio on Coney Drive in Belize City. Fill out your coupons and return them to our Channel 5 office. Remember to tune in at 8 p.m. every night from December 4th to the 8th for awesome entertainment, giveaways, and lots of prizes. And don't forget, when your phone rings, don't say,
Hello,
say,
give me 5.
Woo!
And
Welcome back to our Open Your Eyes special edition of Children's Parliament 2023. We have enjoyed a bit of meeting our
Yes.
young parliamentarians this morning, April, and we have 3 more to
Yes,
speak
indeed.
to us this morning. We have with us Gabriel Cal, Ryan Castellanos, and Himang Punjabi. Good morning,
morning,
gentlemen,
gentlemen.
and thank you for joining us. So tell us, maybe you could introduce yourselves, and I want you to say what you're representing this morning.
yes.
Well, I am Ryan Castellanos. I'm 14 years old and I'm representing Lake Independence.
Oh, wow, okay.
Good morning, my name is Gabriel Call and I'm representing Cayo Central.
So hi, I'm young parliamentarian Hemang Punjabi and today I'll be presenting my Cooper feet in the senator's position.
All right, perfect.
Wow. So wait, so 14 years old? Is that what you said?
17 years
17.
old.
I am 14.
14 too.
Wow.
Wow. Young children.
Young leaders, we
in
should
this
say.
in this right indeed. And for your ages, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what I was doing at 14.
Yeah,
Sabrina.
at 14.
Not children's parliament. No.
But I want to ask indeed, just as you pointed out, they're so young, April. What sparked the interest in being a part of Children's Parliament 2023? Let's get your take.
Well, what sparked my interest would be that when I first heard about it, it was because of a principal. And I said, let me try because I want to see the exposure and also the experience of doing a decision for the country and for the children.
Were you familiar with it, or did you see any of the coverage of the previous child parliaments?
No, I've just recently learned about it.
Oh, wow,
What class
okay.
are you in?
3rd form.
Wow.
And 14?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? That makes sense.
Yeah,
that
it
checks
does
out.
now. Now that you say that.
And you,
And you?
Gabriel?
Hi, what sparked my attention was that when I first see it last year, I see the full video on the SM, so I said I want to take the challenge, so why shouldn't I take it?
So you saw it last
Yeah,
year, and that
yeah.
was what made you
yeah,
interested.
that inspired me to take the challenge, so I
Okay.
said I know I'm in and I'm
Yeah.
parliamentarian 2023, so
Wow.
Excellent.
And
Himang?
Himang?
So what sparked my interest was that I was like doing something and everybody was like pushing me to apply. My parents, my peers, my elders, everybody said I should try. So I got into the application. I tried my best to answer and now I'm here.
Were you all allowed to choose your constituencies, or how did that work?
Well, they told us that we have to work hard for it.
Okay.
It won't just fall in your laps.
Which is very similar
It
to
is,
the
it is.
leaders that we
so
have.
what did you all have to do in order to become representatives of your constituencies?
what do we have to do is do a lot of research. Some of us have to rewrite our speech at time to
Tell
time.
me what the research was like. What exactly were you searching for information-wise?
About the constituency of my Cayo Central, I did a lot of research. I wanted to know like what the minister do in his position and all of those stuff, so I get to know it, and when I get to know it, I wrote my speech. But then when I first wrote my speech, I rewrote it again. So
Okay.
yeah, so and then it's really perfect for today, as you're gonna hear at the House of Representatives.
So when we're talking about this topic, right, the legal age of marriage for children, I asked the question to our co-host previously as to how that topic came up and if you all even knew about this kind of issue happening in your homes or in your communities. Let's talk about this topic.
So let's start with it. Did you know that this was an issue affecting young girls?
Yes, I knew it was an issue because where I came from, you can actually see it in my community.
Where are you from?
I'm from San Antonio Village, Toledo.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So,
Gabriel?
Gabriel?
Well, to be honest, I am against the bill as in the debate, so I really do not stand with the bill because then it's really have to change.
Okay. And
Yeah.
yourself, Hemang?
I mean, well, you could see it all over news. It's everywhere that you could see things are happening to young women, and that's why I feel that they're trying to raise the legal age marriage so that nothing happens to the women and they could develop more.
Ryan, I wanna bring the conversation back to you because you mentioned that you are a part of a community that this actually takes place. We spoke to our co-hosts before the break, and they were giving obviously their input, saying that they do not support young girls being married as early as 16, and that is the reason why we are trying to raise the age to 18 years old. As a 14-year-old, knowing that there are young girls right around your age range that is being a part of child marriage, what was your reaction to it before you decided to advocate against it?
Well, my reaction to it was like, I wonder why sometimes I would see that they have like, maybe they're in poverty or that they're like, they say they're in love, that they would either elope or just go with the person.
Wow.
And they have kids, and when they have kids at a young age, it makes it hard for them because sometimes they, like the father, they have to go far at work. Like most of the people I know, they like work at Placencia because like they can't find job in Punta Gorda, and some of them have to go more farther, or some of them have to just work in the field, in the farms, to provide their food.
Yeah.
And these would be the men.
These would be the men.
Okay.
So I want to stay on the topic, but I wanted to also bring it back to how this is being brought forward in the National Children's Parliament. So when you're coming in to talk about this particular case, how do you begin? How do you start this process?
Let's get your take, Gabriel.
Gabriel. How do you begin to talk about this topic in the National Assembly, as a part of the National Children's Parliament?
I mean, like I said, I have to wrote my speech and then I have to get every little conclusion of it, and I will state the statistic of it, and to bring it up against.
So, but you said you're not for this bill, right?
Yeah, I'm not
so
for this
what
bill.
would be your points that you would object to for this bill?
I wouldn't want it raised from 16 to 18, rather than the age of consent and also the marriage age should be changed. It should move on to 21 years.
Oh, so you feel it should be even older?
Yeah, that's what I feel.
Why? Let's talk about
Why?
why you got to
Because
that.
I mean, we are all children up to still age of 18,
Yeah, very true.
and if you raise it to 21, we could be called adults, finish high school, finish university, maybe have apartment, and you know what I'm saying, like get a stable job.
You're an adult at this point.
adult
in life.
at this point.
We're adults at this point in time.
Hemang, I want to get your take on this because your preparation might be a little bit different. What exactly was involved when it came to preparing for your
It's
role?
not really as different as them. As I said, I'm opposing the bill as well, but I'm trying to raise it to 21 instead. So I just had to do research on why it should be changed to 21 and why it shouldn't be changed at 18 to support me into changing it into 21.
So you're both 14 and you're 17, right? This particular Parliament, National Assembly, the legalities of Belize, this is a topic that is mostly covered in Belizean studies, yes, or social studies class. Have you spoken about these kinds of judicial systems in these classes before? Let's start with you.
Well, not really. We talked more about teenage pregnancy, and we saw that one of the main reasons was child marriage or just union under the age of 18.
Okay.
So it kind of came in, but child marriage wasn't a specific topic.
Okay. Were other topics flown about before we got to this one?
No.
No, this was the topic that was
This was
given.
the topic, yes.
I want to pose the same question that I did to our previous co-hosts. What was the experience like interacting with other young parliamentarians? Because you guys are representing young people from all over the country. We understand that you're from Toledo. Where are you from, Gabriel?
Belmopan.
Belmopan. And you, Hama? Orange Walk. So totally different places. What has been the experience interacting with your other young peers?
Well, to me it has been great, like interacting with the other child parliamentarians. Like we have a very similar goal, which is to pass this bill. And then when we have to discuss about it, what we can do about it, and also like we can relate to each other because we're all focused on the same thing. And so it's like all of us come together to form one whole big voice. And that really is great because it's a great cooperation with everyone.
Yeah. You, Gabriel?
My experience was that you got to make friends. You meet different children. You got to study with them, practice your speech with them, and you make those connection with them as a friend there for the 2 days that we had. And it's the really hard thing is that it's hard to say goodbye to them.
Yeah. Well, you have some lifelong friends.
Yeah.
And you, Haman?
So I would say it's a wonderful experience because you're talking with people with the same goals as you, some similar interests as you, and it's overall a great experience because you're talking with people at your standards. So overall you could make a bunch of friends. It's a good experience. You're with people, you're debating with people, you're learning new things about people, and overall it just helps you grow socially.
Yeah, I want to go back to the topic at hand though, because you are all gentlemen. So and some of you are either very close to the age, or for yourself you're already 17. How did you receive this topic? Most of the time when we're talking about teenage marriages, they're mostly affected by to young girls. So how were you all able to kind of relate, well not relate, but provide these ideas, provide the research for this topic to ensure that you're trying to get the age to 21, or you're trying to raise the age to 18? How do you guys connect with this kind of topic?
Well, I would connect. I would connect because I don't really like the idea of children marrying under 18, and I see it as a very bad thing. Well, it's not that bad, but there are some disadvantages to it. And so I would say I'd connect to it because I can see it in my community.
Of course.
Like when writing my speech, I was supposed to be writing with statistics. Unfortunately, there wasn't much statistics for Lake Independence, but it was going great. I have my final speech, which is very well written. And while writing this, I can see that child marriages is a big issue. And so I included it because beginning my speech, I wrote a poem to begin everything. And so I included that. So, yes.
And yourself, Gabriel?
I mean, I'm 17. I wouldn't want to get married at a very young age.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would tell my mom I want to get married at the age of 38.
38?
Yeah.
That's a very specific number.
Yeah. 38. That's it. Why? And she'll be questioning me. Why is that you want to get married at the age of? And I tell her, Mom, I have 5 reasons why. Finish study first. Travel around. State a career for yourself. And make friends and enjoy life, and that's what it means. So
you feel like at 38 you'll be able to do?
At 38, I would have a house. You know.
Okay, we are checking at 38. And you, Hemang?
I would say it's relatable in a way because women are not really fully developed by 16 or 18, and they still have education to pursue, and if they're into early marriage, they wouldn't be able to pursue after because of teenage pregnancy and such, and health complications. So it would really be great for them to at least reach to 21 when they have a lot more experience and a lot more maturity to deal with such.
You know, I'm here listening to you gentlemen speak and hearing Gabriel say that he has all these plans that he's trying to get together by the time he's 38. You guys are all leaders in your own right, I imagine, in your communities, in your schools. Being a part of Child Parliament, has it sparked any interest in the future, maybe being a leader in this way?
It sparked my interest by maybe one day I want to be a minister.
Okay.
Of this nation here at Belmopan.
And yourself, Ryan?
Well, it sparked my interest in a way because I wouldn't maybe want to be a minister. I would want to be more of a leader to them though, but maybe I would consider being a minister. But I would also like to reach out to them, like maybe in a NGO sort of way,
Okay.
and help out in ways I can. That way we can get more help for the people that really need it.
Yeah.
It
Hemang?
sparked my interest because although I don't want to become a representative or anything in the house, I would want to become a liar. But this sparks my interest into taking the initiative to pursue my goals and to help others along the way.
Wonderful. Just to, before I get into our next segment, Sabrina, so that just give our guests a little bit of time to think about it. What does this topic do, or how do you connect this topic to the Convention of the Rights of the Child? Yes, use. I know you brought your notes. You can use it.
Children's Day serve as a reminder of the rights and well-being of every child in our nation. The Children's Parliament is a medium where you can express yourself, ensuring that your voices and ideas can be heard. It is a platform that empowers you and makes you active in decision-making process to uphold the fundamental rights of children. Your contributions are valuable, and together we can build a society where every child thrives, dreams, and achieves their full potential.
Okay. Wonderful, excellent indeed. At this time, Sabrina, we have another special feature. We had Richard Martinez previously, and now we're going to have another stand-up interview with parliamentarian John Hales, who is going to give us some interesting things that we learned. What they learned about their government while preparing for the National Children's Parliament. So we're handing it over to you, John.
Good morning to all OYE viewers. I am child parliamentarian John Hales. As child parliamentarians, we learn about a multitude of things pertaining to various topics. One of these topics is governance. Some of the things we have learned about governance includes, but is not limited to, the following. 1. The mace. The mace represents authority within both the House and the Senate. Something to note is that the head of the mace must always face the side of the ruling party. The Senate has power. Contrary to a popular belief, the Senate isn't just there for formality and will not always just pass a bill to pass a bill. When the bill gets to the Senate, if a senator wishes to make amendments to said bill, they can rightfully do so. And if they get majority of the senators to get on their side, the bill will go back to House. People in power. Ministers represent constituents first rather than their ministry. Ministers represent their constituency first rather than their ministry. For instance, when we were given our bill, majority of us parliamentarians tried to relate it to our ministry. However, we were told that ministers are there to be the voice for their people, the voice for their constituency, and to speak up for people who can't do so for themselves. Unity in the House. A lot of people believe that the opposition can't agree to the bill that's being proposed. However, that's not very factual. The opposition can always support this bill, and they can just simply say, however, Madam Speaker, I would like to suggest some amendments be made for it to better benefit not only my constituency, but the country on a whole. Women in power. This year, I am ecstatic to be able to say that we have both a woman Speaker of the House and President of the Senate. This is a rare occurrence. Thank you for listening to me, and that pretty much concludes what I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, John, for those interesting tips or topics on what they learned while preparing for the National Children's Parliament. And so I wanted to throw the exact same question at our guests this morning. What are some things that you learned while doing this, preparing for the National Children's Parliament?
We learned a lot of things, but then if I could recall about the mace. The maize always, the thing for the maize always point out to the party on the other side. So that's what I really learned. I'm gonna keep that in mind. So maybe an exam come up in my school, so I'm ready to answer it.
Good idea. And what did you learn, Ryan?
Well, I've learned that like if you're going to excuse yourself, you should bow before you leave. Then you exit.
That's
and when
interesting.
you come back, then you bow back again. Then you take your seat.
Okay.
Also, I've learned that when we're writing our speech, we should be like more straight to the point. And they have given us a time limit, 3 minutes per our speech, and we have to work with that. We have to make it strong, impactful, and short. So
Did you feel like that 3 minutes was too much or too little?
I think it was just about right.
Okay. That's interesting for me, learning that you have to bow to
I didn't know that.
to the
We're the
restroom.
missed part.
I learned that when the party that you're opposing makes a mistake in the standing order, you could point it out, but you'd have to point it out with the exact standing order.
So did you have to learn those
Standing orders?
Yes.
I mean, these are all very interesting things that I would never have even considered to be, important.
Yeah.
But clearly, you can't run the assembly without doing these things, right? So before we wrap up with our guest this morning, I would like to give all three of you the opportunity to look into this camera right here and to give your message to the nation this morning. Let's start with you, Ryan.
Okay. My message for the nation is to be who you truly are. As a youth here, people can label me as many things. However, this does not define who I am. So I would like to tell all of you who are hearing my voice that you have a right to identity and freedom to be who you are. So take a stand and be who you are and believe in what you really believe.
Wow. Okay.
Excellent.
Gabriel?
A message I would say for Belize today would be in unity, hope, empowerment, and to emphasize a brighter future for our nation. Thank you.
Amang?
My message for the nation is to always pursue your dreams and do what's right, because by pursuing your dreams and doing what's right will always open up good doors for you and never let you down.
Wow.
Gentlemen, that sounded like it came from the heart. Did you guys write that before, or was that from the heart?
Just now.
From the heart.
From the heart. Thank you so
Even though
much.
it took like, I had to consider it first, yes. But yes.
Well, I gotta say, gentlemen, for being so young, it truly seems that you are ready for your speeches in the National Assembly this morning. You feel ready?
Ready.
You good?
Ready.
You ready for get it over with or ready?
What's the thing we like say? Never back down.
Never back down.
Yeah.
Never back down.
We'll keep that one, Sabrina.
Well, we are certainly excited to see you guys take your seats in just about an hour or so. So we are going to take another break, April, and when we come back, the special edition of Children's Parliament 2023 continues. Stay with us.
Gimme 5! The biggest giveaway show of the year is back with new prizes and surprises. The fun starts at 8 p.m. on Monday, December 4th, and ends on Friday, December 8th. Gimme 5 coupons are now available for 25 cents each on our Channel 5 website and at our studio on Coney Drive in Belize City. Fill out your coupons and return them to our Channel 5 office. Remember to tune in at 8 p.m. every night from December 4th to the 8th for awesome entertainment, giveaways, and lots of prizes. And don't forget, when your phone rings, don't say,
Hello?
say,
Give me 5?
Woo! Woo!
It's tough at times, but it's good also.
They should be more supported about us girls. You get to enjoy here and get opportunities to study.
Girls are given a chance now.
We have a lot of things to do. We can express ourselves in Belize.
Being a girl in Belize feels like I'm being supported.
Being a girl is good, yeah.
I feel like we have too much expectations on us.
Sometimes I feel suffocated to do the right things and pressured.
Us girls, we can't even walk out in the street without us being sexualized, honestly.
It's kind of challenging because at sometimes most people expect girls to be smarter than boys.
I'm happy growing up in Belize as a girl.
It's hard because you can't really go about how you want.
Well, growing up in Belize as a girl is very complicated.
So to me, I don't feel fear to go out.
It's hard because of the expectations.
Men are always calling you, and that makes you uncomfortable because you can't wear what you want to wear.
Being a girl in Belize is also great, but also a struggle.
It's hard sometimes because you get judged a lot.
It's hard to be a girl.
You have that confidence in yourself to be a girl in Belize.
Growing up in Belize as a girl, it's empowering.
It's actually not that bad. It's really good.
I feel important and heard.
It is very hard because people always try to bring you down.
I enjoy growing up in this community around people that love me and treat me as their equal.
It is hard and people try to take advantage of it, but it's also awesome at the same time.
We feel important and empowered, and we have each other back.
It's nice but also hard at the same time.
They put a lot of pressure on us as young females.
I love it because I feel free and I have education here in Belize.
It's very interesting because you learn everything every day.
Growing up in Belize, I feel like we have more opportunities to be free.
Growing up more and more kind of made it like a little bit more easy for us since we had our teachers and families and friends that would be there for us.
It's hard. I feel like I have to work harder for certain opportunities, but I think it's made me stronger.
So when it comes to the island, I feel like you're able to explore more before you can go into the big city.
It's very community oriented, but sometimes it can be very judgmental.
A bit of a struggle because sometimes they don't really listen to girls as much as we would like to.
I definitely think it's a bit intimidating, like going down the street, getting catcalled. That's really hard.
I feel comfortable around the people here in Kikaker. It's very trusting.
I feel very empowered. I feel strong, so I love Belize.
And we are back with our special edition of Open Your Eyes, the National Children's Parliament.
Yes.
Sabrina. And we have some more guests with us this morning. We've switched it over from the gentlemen to the ladies of the house. Joining us, we have Sol Main. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Alyssa Bell, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
And Miss Alexandria Mai, good morning, ladies.
Good morning, ladies.
Can you tell us what you are representing in the house this morning?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Soleil Main. I am the Senator, Leader of Government Business.
And how old are you?
I am 18 years old. Wow. I'm Child Parliamentarian Alyssa Bell, and I am representing Minister Dolores Valderramos, Minister of Human Development, Family, and Indigenous People Affairs.
And how old are you?
I'm 15 years old.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Alexandra. I'm representing Honorable John Briceño, the Prime Minister of Belize. I am 14 years old.
You're 14.
14 years
and
old.
And representing the Prime Minister of Belize. We shouldn't even be doing this show anymore. I think I'm good.
Oh my goodness.
Let's talk about, so I had tossed this question to the gentleman before about the topic of child marriages and how they relate to the topic, seeing as, you know, it happens mostly for girls, for women. And I wanted to get your take on this bill, this topic, what it means to you, and what you hope the outcome is after the assembly meeting is over. Let's start with you, Alexandria.
Firstly, I feel like this is something that is very brushed under the rug, is pushed aside because it's like, okay, it's normal. We have teenage pregnancies all over in our country and it's something that we've been accustomed to, but in reality, it's just something that actually it hurts our country in a way that we don't really see or we just choose to ignore. And like you said, women are the ones who mostly are affected because, if you look around our country, you'd see a lot of single mothers or young mothers and stuff like that. And it's something that is really sad to see because you have to deal with a whole lot of stuff as a woman. I'm not saying that men don't have their own problems, but as a mother, it comes with much more responsibility. And if you join child marriage, it's something that the possibility is higher to increase teenage pregnancy, and we all know by now that teenage pregnancy has a lot of effects on both the mother and child. You have health effects and stuff like that. So I feel like it's something that we should pay more attention to because it doesn't affect one person or two people, but it affects even innocent babies, and we should think about them more because they're the future of our generation.
Indeed. How about you, Alyssa?
Well, this topic, I'm very passionate about this topic actually, because as an active youth in my community, I see and I acknowledge so many problems that youths are facing with today, and child marriage is one of them. So child marriage and this bill relating to child marriage, it is very crucial for our nation because passing this bill will ensure the futures of our children because the bill, it affects the future of the nation because children are undeniably the future of Belize.
What is your community, or where are you from?
I'm from Santa Elena, Cayo District. I live around the Cristo Rey area.
Okay. Is this something that you see actively in your community?
Yeah, it is. And I believe that this bill, it's a balance between the tradition and ensuring the rights of these children. And even the legal age, the adults' right to freedom and choice.
Indeed. Excellent.
Well, my fellow parliamentarians and peers has spoken in essence what I believe as well. It's about time we brought something like this to the table. As Alexandria had mentioned, that it's swept under the rug. We don't necessarily abide by some of the rights that we are given. We don't have that. We as women specifically, because we are the mostly affected negatively by this, we don't often see a positive outcome for women, and it's about time that we took action as youths. Because at the end of the day, innocent lives are at stake. Our future is at stake because these innocent lives will become the status quo at the end of the day. And it's about time once again. I'm emphasizing that because we needed to hear this. We needed to talk about this. It's something that I found that how we not talk about this already? How we not mention this from the day this bill was passed? Why is it like that? So that we share the same sentiment.
I love that you brought up the rights of children. And I want to ask you ladies, were you familiar with the Convention of the Rights of a Child before being a part of Children's Parliament?
On a personal note, yes, I have been aware of it because I've always been an active youth. I've always been in youth groups and things like that, and there are youth groups out there that educate you on these topics. They tell you about your rights as a child, and it's also our right as the people to want to know these things and to have to be able to access these things as the people of our country.
Alyssa, how about you? Did you know about CRC before Child Parliament?
Yes, I'm very familiar with it because I'm currently in the Child Advisory Board of Santa Elena San Ignacio, and they emphasize on the child rights and they educate us about that so we could educate other children.
And you, Alexandria?
Well, yes, I have been knowing about the CRC for quite a long time, and I realize that although we have children's rights, it's something that it's not very emphasized in our community. Like, okay, you have children's rights, but you won't see like something happening to a child and someone actually getting up and standing up for them. And to say that this happens in our community where children are the future for our generation is very sad, because you should treat them like jewels. They're very precious, they're very fragile, they're very easy to mold, and they're sponges. They soak up everything that they see.
What we're looking at, April, is young leaders saying that they were familiar with the Convention of the Rights of a Child. But as you asked me a bit earlier this morning, if I learned about this as a high schooler or even a primary schooler, No, we didn't.
No.
So my question to you ladies would be, do you think that this is something that should be entered into the classroom setting for every young person to know their rights?
Yes. Even before the classroom, I think it should be entered in the home. It is mandatory. You start at home. That's how you are molded in society. And in order for your parents to educate you, they need to be educated themselves. And also at school, if you cannot learn it at home, at school, yes, it is mandatory. While we learn our national anthem, the national prayer, our pledge to Belize, we should learn our rights as the people of our country.
Excellent. Yeah. I wanted to throw this question at you ladies as well, because as your peer that came earlier had said, he was trying to find statistics for his research at Lake Independence. So how did you all also prepare for your speeches in the house? How was the research like when it comes to these kinds of to this issue in particular with underage marriages? What was it like?
Well, on a personal note, I'm in a youth group called Youth Awareness Movement that is under BFLA, Belize Family Life Association. And I'm under many other youth groups. I was under the Child Advisory Board of Belmopan. And naturally, these statistics were given to us to make presentations, to educate our society. Specifically, for me, I saw them on the BFLA page and also with UNICEF. You can get your statistics from UNICEF and also Belize statistics. Okay. Yeah. So that's where I personally got my information. And I also put in my opinion from my experience at the same time. So I blended both of them and what I see in my nation as well.
How was your research like?
Research was a long process for me, I'll be honest. So it started off with me going to my child advisor board moderator. I consulted her and she consulted me actually about the UNICEF page. And you'd be surprised how many websites they have about child marriages. It's very inspiring. And it's crazy how not a lot of people are aware of these websites. And they have very, very good information in it. And they even have like plans to like decreasing the rate of child marriage.
Wow. Alexandra?
Unlike my colleagues, I had a bit of a difficult time finding information. Like when I go to specifics, especially like looking in a specific constituency, it's not very narrowed down, and I think it's something that Belize should increase in, like maybe form a little group that does specific, it goes in depth of finding all this information, because it's something that is a major issue, and although it's looked above, it should be taken into consideration. So I had to search the web for some information, and I did find it eventually, but
it took some time.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Do you think that here in Belize, because I know a lot of these pages, UNICEF and SIB, the information, it takes a little while for it to become updated. So when we're talking about providing information, we just had the Count Me In project by SIB. How important are these types of projects for us to be able to gather the information so that people like you can eventually acquire that information? Let's start with you, So.
I'll be honest with you, it is important to do research. It is important to be able to have information for your people to see and understand at that. And I would like to stress the importance of always wanting to update these things. Yeah. You know, the population is getting bigger by the minute, and it is mandatory for us to be seeing, well, the last statistics research was from 2022, not from 2019, 2018, you know. We want to keep it flowing, and while yes, it takes a while, the resources are maybe limited at times and things like that. However, there should be a stress, like a, push for this, Yeah.
I wanna ask you ladies, this has been a question we've been throwing out to our other co-hosts since the start of the morning. What has been things that you've learned through this process of being a child parliamentarian?
Things that I've learned in the process, respect. I noticed the respect we display to each other when we're debating and things like that. I learned that you can have a difference in opinion while still being able to say, well, I agree to disagree. You know, I understand what you're saying, and I want to make a slight little change to that. And I also learned the respect for the House of Assembly with the mace. I found that very impressive. I was not aware of the mace and turning it to the ruling party. I was not aware of you had to bow to the president or the speaker when they exit or enter, you know, and I love that because we need to respect one another as people, and that's the only way we can move forward with mutual respect and mutual understanding. So that's what I learned during this process.
You, Alyssa?
During this process, it was very much emphasized that our voice matters, your voice matters, every children's voice matters. And this Parliament 2023 and all the other years, it really emphasized that and it really shows that the children voices matters. And also during this process, I also learned the process of the House Assembly because I don't really watch the news or everything, and it's really interesting. And children should know these processes of how these laws that they are abiding to is processed and passed. So,
you, Alexandria?
First, I found politics a bit boring. Like in primary school, it felt like something that was very forced on us. Oh, like you gotta learn what's the capital of Belize. And I was very naive then, and I was like, I don't need to know all of this to get a job. But then when I actually became a part of the youth parliament and see what it's like to be in their shoes, I see it's something that, gosh, it really is important. And taking the people, I won't lie, I feel like I have seen personal experiences wherein people take the jobs of government officials lightly, like it's okay.
They could just change it. They could just change the law.
Yeah. But then being here and experiencing it is a whole different perspective because it's actually very hard work. You don't get to sit back and do things like, especially something as a pressing matter as child marriage. You have to dig deep. You have to go for facts. You can't just spit opinions because everyone has their own opinions, and we all respect that for sure. One thing I also learned here is that, I mean, I already know him, but something that was very emphasized is be your brother or your sister's keeper. And I feel like relating to child marriage is something that specific code correlates with, because I'm going to look out for my sister no matter what. For my brother, it's the same, and I will make sure that everything goes well. I want to make sure everyone is happy.
Well, as we are continuing the conversation with our women parliamentarians this morning, we want to throw it over to another special feature. And we have child parliamentarian Rhea Chi, who is going to grace us with her lovely voice with her rendition of We Are the World. Are we ready, Rhea?
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We are all a part of God's great big family, and the truth, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. Oh, saving our own lives. It's true, make a brighter day, just you and me. Well, send them your heart, so they'll know how much you care, and their lives will be made stronger and free. As God has shown us, by turning stone to bread, we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. Oh, saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a brighter day, just you and me.
Thank you, Madam Speaker Ria Chi, for that lovely rendition of We Are the World. And we really do make a better place once we all work together, right?
Yes.
So ladies, we are almost wrapping up our segment this morning, and I would like to take this opportunity to give your voice to the people with the message of the nation. Let's start with you.
My voice to the people is that you guys are able to fight for what you want in life. You guys have the right to an education. You have the right to want to learn things. I urge you to look up your rights. I urge you to look up the laws, abide by them. I want you to understand that you can question some of these things because you have a voice to do so. You have a right to freedom of speech. And to the youths out there, I want you guys to know that it is okay to have a loud voice, to speak harder than the others, to want to express yourself and defend yourself when needed, because it is supposed to happen. What? You know when they used to say, what is it? To be seen and not heard? No, 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 no. That's not for you guys. We're gonna change that, and we're starting it today.
Wow. Alyssa?
My voice for the nation is to all the children across the globe, and especially in Belize, to advocate for the problems that are happening in your community. And don't be afraid. Have courage. Inspire. Because your voice matters. And remember your rights of a child. You have the right to an education, a voice especially, and I advocate on that immensely. And you matter.
Wonderful. Alexandra?
Firstly, I'm going to start off saying that you are important, whether you feel it or not right now in this moment of time, you are. And that's why we are here now, because no matter what religion you are, what color you are, how old you are, how young you are, that's why we're here. And that's why the government is here, to help you feel safe in your own skin and to make sure that you have a bright future. No matter all that you're going through now, take it all in, and trust me, the future is going to be bright as long as you talk for it, you speak for it. And the rights are here to keep you safe, keep you protected, and guide you through life. Trust me. Also, if you have a hard time getting through to doing whatever you want in life, just try a little harder and go through every day with the grace of God.
Wow. Wonderful.
Wow.
Ladies, thank you so much. You were excellent this morning, and I can't wait to see your official presentation later this morning.
I almost forgot, and I should have asked this question before, but your advocation for this particular bill. I know some of the oppositions are trying to get it to 21. Some of you are trying to get it to 18. What is your stand on the bill?
Where I stand is the line of respect. The legal age of an adult is 18. Why we set it to 18? Because we don't want to infringe on someone's right to be an adult and make their own decisions. Also, to keep in mind people's traditions. They might not want to extend all the way to 21. Maybe it's something religious. They have to keep it in a teen. 18 would be the most age appropriate number for them to be able to marry and consider such life-changing decisions.
Well, this bill, 18, I believe 18 is the middle ground between the age of 16 to 21, because leaping from 16 to 21 is too far of a leap if you think about it. And some cultures may not be able to adjust to this bill if it's increased too high. So 18 provides a balance between tradition and the rights of a child.
Yeah.
Okay. Alexandra?
I agree with both of my colleagues. 18 is a balance, and 21 is a 5-year difference from 16 to 18 to 21. People might find a hard time adjusting, especially you want to remember that Belize is a mixing pot of cultures. You want to keep everyone in mind and respect their traditions. It's a balance, as Alyssa said, between tradition and the rights of a child.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Beautiful, ladies. I want to thank each and every one of you so much for joining us this morning. I can't wait to see your speeches. Best of luck in there, and I know it's going to turn out great. Whatever the outcome of the bill is, I am very proud that you all have chosen this topic. Thank you so much for coming in. We're going to take a final break. No, not a final break. Another break. And we'll be back with more OYE Child Parliamentarian Edition. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Darina.
And I'm Ishmael.
Welcome to our home,
the culture capital of Belize,
Dangriga. Our town is known for the rich culture and heritage of the Garinagu who settled here, making it their home since the 1800s. The Garinagu are an ethnic group with mixed ancestry of African, Arawak, and Carib. On May 18, 2001, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, proclaimed the Garifuna language, music, and dance a masterpiece of the oral and intangible heritage of humanity. My town depends heavily on the sea for our livelihood, culture, and food.
All the world leaders are talking about climate change, but for many Belizean children like us, we don't get to talk about it, we live it.
Exhibit A. I'm standing in the Grace Ramirez Memorial Park.
Because of coastline erosion, children from the nearby school are losing this space to play and enjoy school breaks.
It's not only our town. Other children in Belize experience it too. If you took a drive going farther down south, Monkey River is a community in the Toledo district that has also been losing its beaches for decades. In our western and northern districts, each year hurricanes like Eta and Iota cause flooding that displace many children from their homes and communities. UNICEF and other humanitarian organizations support affected families as they learn to adjust to the changes in our weather and environment. A recent UNICEF report, the Children's Climate Risk Index, presents clear evidence showing that over 99% of children are already exposed to at least one climate or environmental shock, with approximately 1 billion children at an extremely high risk from the impacts of climate change.
This is why climate change is actually a child rights crisis. Not only does it affect children, but children and young people can also be a part of climate action.
Welcome back to our special edition of Open Your Eyes, Children's Parliament 2023. April, we've been talking to all these young leaders this morning, and it's been so inspiring. Yes, learning of their ages as well, as young as 14 years old.
The issues, some of them want to be politicians. I believe the young lady, Soul Main, she wants to be prime minister one day.
Yeah.
You know, so these kinds of practices, these research that they do for the National Children's Parliament is boosting their confidence. They want to become politicians, they want to govern us one day, and I personally am here for it. I want to be old and grey one day and be voting for Sloan.
Yeah. But this segment of the show, we will be talking to some of the organizers of this year's Children Parliament. We have with us Paulette Wade, and she is the Monitoring and Evaluation Officer with UNICEF. We also have with us Miss Valerie Woods, no stranger to Open Your Eyes. She, of course, is the Speaker of the House. And on her left is Maria Elena Contreras, and she is the chairperson for the National Commission for Families and Children. Ladies,
morning,
good morning.
ladies.
And
Good morning.
Powerful
Thank you
team.
for having us. Let's talk about Children's Parliament. I know that you were mentioning this is your baby.
Yes.
So let's talk about the inspiration for having a Children's Parliament in the first place. This is the 4th annual edition.
UNICEF and the National Commission for Families and Children 5 years ago, when we were celebrating the 30th year of the UN Conventions of the Rights of the Child, we looked at the rights and we said, what are some of the areas of greatest gap? And we said, children's participation. So what can we do to boost children participation? And so with the NCFC, we said, wow, let's look at the Children's Parliament. We want children to be engaged, to be a part of decision making, and the highest platform for that is the National Assembly. And so together we met with the Speaker of the House at that time, and we said, is it something that we can do together? Because it's about as well a partnership. And so from since then, we have been working with the NCFC and with the National Assembly to be able to do this every year for children. So next year is the 35th year of the UN conventions. So it will be, I think, even bigger.
Yeah.
Because now it would have been 5 years since we have been doing it. So of course, COVID came in and we had to stop, but this had been here for a while.
I want to get Speaker Valerie Woods in the conversation because, as Ms. Pollitt mentioned, this is a partnership with the National Assembly. Let's talk about the role that the National Assembly plays with including children in the big seats, as we would call it, for decision making.
Well, thank you and good morning. And I have to tell you, I'm particularly pleased when I heard April said one of the youth parliamentarians already expressed that she wants to be Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Now, if that does not allow us to just say job well done, we can go home. And that a few others do want to enter politics, that's very important.
Yeah.
The National Assembly has been critical in terms of providing the support, technical support, and the guidance on what the legislative process is about, how you get a bill into the House and then into the Senate and then on to the Governor General for assent. One of the changes that we made from the original template was to ensure that the Youth Parliament that Belize puts on, the National Children's Parliament, reflects that process. Before it was just the House, but the legislature is not complete if it doesn't go through the upper house. And so that is why at today's and as the last previous years, you have an increase in the amount of children participating and you have an increase in the roles and appreciation of that role. Because it's also a way that the National Assembly gets to educate our young about the other branch of government, which is the legislature. The team at the National Assembly, and I have to, if you allow me, I do have to recognize the liaison officer, the parliamentary officer who takes the lead every year working with NCFC and UNICEF, and that is Miss Eunice Gibson. She has under her belt 30 years experience in Parliament. And a lot of appreciation to her. She goes above and beyond the call of duty because it means a lot to the staff. So the clerk, deputy clerk, and the entire team has put their weight behind this to work with UNICEF and NCFC and to work with the children, because let's face it, these are young people having a crash course in legislature and legislative speak. And so to break it down in very usable, understandable terms, and to just watch them without us, or I can say, Ms. Contreras, even without NCFC egging them on, just to have them naturally take on the role of voicing what they want. That's the most interesting part. Our youngest parliamentarian is below the age of 40, and I believe he's from the Senate. And so it's even a more refreshing perspective to get an actual youth within the high school setting, and then to, as I understand it, to have them participate beyond the parliament and ensuring, following up with NCFC, what happened to that bill that we introduced a couple of years ago? Is government looking at it? Does it have any resonance? So this is National Assembly. I know it's Paulette's baby, but we like to babysit.
We're the aunties.
We are the aunties and uncles, and we have taken this on with as much vigor, passion, and enthusiasm.
I wanted to get Ms. Contreras in the conversation. We're talking about organizing these children because at the end of the day, they're still children. And for me, Sabrina and I were joking about it and talking about what were we doing at 14 or 13 or 12, and I wasn't thinking about government, right? And to hear these kids talk about what they want, what they think is right for them and for their communities is just so inspiring. But how did you get children from all over the country to come together to participate and to be so well eloquent in speaking with us?
Well, first of all, we have a process where they apply. And they send us little video clips, and they do a little prompt speech for us. There's a technical steering committee and a steering committee where the selection process takes place at the technical working committee, and then the steering committee, Madam Speaker and myself are on the steering committee. She's on the technical working committee. And so we coordinate together and we ensure that we meet frequently and that their needs are being met, that we follow through on what we think we need to improve on. We look at what happened last year, where we can make changes, where we can improve and see that the parliamentarians are better served. We give them support. We have a consultant that does a lot of training with them. She has lots of sessions, Mrs. Elena Del Cid, and she's very instrumental dealing with the children and with the children's parents.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, the parents are very interactive. There's a chat group where the parents are free to ask questions. Their questions are addressed, and also the youths. It's a long process. It takes a lot, but we are perfecting it, and we want to take it to the next level. Madam Speaker spoke about having them, we move them on to the Senate, because before it was only the House of Representatives. For next year, this cohort, we're doing the judiciary, and we want to have a mock trial. So it's going to be the first one.
How important was it to include these young people from all over the country? We saw representation from Toledo, from Orange Walk, from Cayo. How important was it to have representation from all the districts?
Well, that's one of the very things that we as the coordinators always look at. We want to have a good representation and a balance from all the districts. We want urban, we want rural, we want gender, age range, so ethnicity. We try to balance as best as we can so that we have a true representation whenever they come up and speak.
I wanted to get back to the comment that you made, Ms. Woods, about this being a crash course, right? And Sabrina and I were also talking about what did we learn about the system, the judicial system, the legislative system, and I can't remember really in high school or in primary school. So something like this mock trial or this particular children's parliament, this will stay with them for the rest of their lives. So have you all ever discussed about maybe collaborating with the Ministry of Education to see how it can become something like a process for children in Belizean studies or in social studies or anything like that?
So there's regular conversations with the Ministry of Education. In fact, they do have representation on the steering committee and on the technical committee as well. In addition to that, though, I know this year is the first year, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ms. Contreras, but I think it's the first year that the Ministry of Education has allowed for this to be live stream where possible at various educational facilities, schools. So that will be another opportunity for the children themselves to be asking for this. In addition to that, UNICEF and the National Assembly do intend for, in terms of next year's Parliament, Children's Parliament, to ensure that there is on the website educational videos, but by the children themselves on this process. So it'll be another avenue, another portal for our young children to access. And there has been discussion on how we can make it more than just a November event, and make it something that permeates throughout the year. In what shape or form that takes is what we have to look at. But we certainly, at the National Assembly, when we get requests from visiting delegations or agencies who are looking for youth parliaments or youth parliamentarians, we do try to steer them now to those agencies, UNICEF and NCFC, who coordinated with National Assembly on this, because they would be the ones that would have the more direct contact with the parliamentarians who participated, the young ones, especially those who are maybe towards the end of their high school year and maybe more readily available should a visit occur and they would need their input. I should mention here that other jurisdictions, other countries have similar youth parliaments, and we are in regular conversations with them. We put them in contact with the NCFC because that's how you grow. And we also can confidently state, and I think you will agree to this, Paulette, that we have seen the growth of Belize's National Children's Parliament, not just in the form and structure, but in the actual youth parliamentarians.
Seen the evolution of Children's Parliament in a particular individual. If I could point out the former Queen of the Bay, Maslin Hansen.
Yes.
She was a child parliamentarian. She also did the mock of the OAS, representing the University of Belize. She is now former Queen of the Bay, and I'm sure she's going to continue to move on to bigger and better things. But in that one individual where you've seen so much growth after the child parliament.
And if you allow me, you know, there's so much that we can learn from our young people, and that's why it's so important to get their engagement and participation. The National Assembly has yet to put in place a system that we see in other jurisdictions where those citizens who are unable to hear can still participate. It is the National Children's Parliament that introduced the simultaneous sign interpretation, and I believe this year they're going to be doing it again. So that certainly has gotten my creative, juices going, and I'm already in contact with NCFC. Let's see how we can test this at an actual parliament to see what are the limitations, where we need to improve on it so that we can make it a reality, because we do have a section of our citizenry that cannot participate in what's happening. Yeah.
I wanna jump into the topic of focus for today. How did we come about to this topic to focus on, which has to do with child marriages? What was the deciding factor that led to this topic?
Okay, so UNICEF along with the NCFC, we are working on a roadmap to end child marriage and early unions, because as you know, it is an issue. It's not an issue that is discussed, but 1 in every 5 girls is either in child marriage or early union, because marriage is the structure, right? If you are cohabitating and living in a marriage situation, it's still a marriage. And 1 in 10 boys. We're talking about 20% of girls and 10% of boys. So they are engaged in early unions. But the data also shows that when children engage in early unions, they open themselves to other things. Domestic violence, because they do not have a voice in these relationships. The education stops. Teenage pregnancy, even in terms of poverty. It increases because they are not at a stage in which they can earn the income to be able to live as they would like. And so there is a roadmap that NCFC is working towards. And so we brought the children together and discussed what are some of their issues that they're having. First parliament, we were looking at the violence, and the second parliament, it was looking at education and the fact that they felt that they needed more vocational learning. And so we said, okay, we have done this. What are some of the other things that you see in your community? And so they instantly talk about teenage pregnancy. But teenage pregnancy comes from somewhere. It comes from early unions. It comes from early sexual debut. And so that meshes quite well with the roadmap that NCFC is working on. And so we said, voila, it's beautiful. So let's try to see how we can support the children in looking at what is the root cause of teenage pregnancy.
How was the topic received by the children when you all presented it to them?
They presented it to us.
Oh, they presented
yes,
it to you.
we brought them together and said, what are some of the issues? We looked at education, we already looked at the violence. What are some of the other things? And they say, well, teenage pregnancy. And when we said, okay, teenage pregnancy is an end result. What causes teenage pregnancy? We said, okay, early sexual debut. Right? And a lot of that comes from early unions in some cases, because in some parts of Belize you don't get the physical marriage, you don't go into, that sort of thing, but you still cohabitate and live in what we call common law union. So that is still a marriage, right? And so we said, okay, let's look at that. What do you think are some of the issues? What do you think the age should be? We know that the age of marriage is at 16 with the parental consent. And so they said, okay, well, this is something that we can work towards. And so we brought them together, brought the technical people together to say, how can we address this bill in a way that sets all the criteria in place.
What I want to know is, how were these roles assigned to each young person? Because I see that we have a female prime minister, and she's only 14 years old. We also had one of the parliamentarians mention that they had to earn their position.
Yeah.
So how was that assigned to them?
Okay, well, as Ms. Contreras mentioned, in the beginning, you send a little video of why you want to be in the parliament, what are some of your aspirations, what are some of your goals. From that, they come together, and as a group, the group selects the prime minister and the leader of the opposition. Okay. So it's among themselves, the person that they feel best represents them, that's the person who that role is given to. As Ms. Contreras also mentioned, there is a consultant who has been working with them, teaching them and training them in how to create their speech, how to speak eloquently. And so among themselves, they say, okay, this person can do this well, so let's promote that, right? You had a singer this morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaker of the House.
Yes. You need a new role to learn to sing.
But she did a wonderful job, and I from the time I met her, there's always these jitters.
Yeah.
And I said, listen, I have jitters too. Now that I know you can sing, though, I think you have overcome. All right. But I just wanted to quickly say that based on the process that NCFC and UNICEF explained, a lot of this is children grown, youth grown. These young people across Belize, they have their voices. This platform is there for those voices to be amplified, and hopefully for us adults to pay attention. One of the things that I've come to appreciate from the Children's Parliament is that they're either willingly or unintentionally, consciously or unconsciously, they are showing Belize a glimpse of what the future Belize they want to see look like in terms of leadership, in terms of legislature, parliament. And they are doing it, I think, each year so far that I've seen with much vigor, but a lot of research into, some would say, perhaps more research than what the real, what us, the real adults, do, right? But they really take this on with a commitment and a passion that is admirable. They, I've heard from our liaison officer at the Parliament, who works closely with them, we've got a this group, they're going to challenge. Or she would come back and tell us, there's some dynamic young people all across this country that we need to make sure that we improve on this every year to get more of this out so that Belizeans who are not part of this process, young and old, can see what we're seeing, even though we just get to see it for a brief time in the year. But these young people really, I think, are showing us a glimpse of where they want to see Belize go. And they're doing it not just in how they reflect the representation in Parliament, but in the bills that they're selecting. And so if it is indeed, as I've understood from NCFC, that they get to influence and get that bill or bills from the past parliaments into the debate and discussions of the actual Parliament, then that is a job well done. And kudos to these young people.
We're about to wrap up our segment this morning, but just for our viewers today that might not be aware of when and where we can find the National Children's Parliament this morning, tell us what time, where can we find it, and how we can also be a part of the continuation of the growth of Children's Parliament.
Well, I know that it's at 9, am I correct? And there are several avenues for participation if you want to tune in. I know that in terms of the Ministry of Education, they have a 501 Academy, and so it will be there. As Madam Speaker mentioned, the schools will be participating, and so they have also ensured that their process is involved. So this 501 Academy, it will also be on UNICEF page and as well Belize Press Office. So
and the National
Assembly, yes.
as well.
And so NCFC is also
Yes.
airing it.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ladies, so much. I want to do a Where Are They Now one of these days with the children in the past. I really would like to know where they are, because I believe that the potential can't just stop after the Children's Parliament.
Exactly.
But thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to the presentation this morning. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for wrap-up. Stay tuned.
Gimme 5! The biggest giveaway show of the year is back with new prizes and surprises. The fun starts at 8 p.m. on Monday, December 4th, and ends on Friday, December 8th. Gimme 5 coupons are now available for 25 cents each on our Channel 5 website and at our studio on Coney Drive in Belize City. Fill out your coupons and return them to our Channel 5 office. Remember to tune in at 8 p.m. every night from December 4th to the 8th for awesome entertainment, giveaways, and lots of prizes. And don't forget, when your phone rings, don't say, "Hello." Say, "Give me 5." Woo! Woo!
Welcome back to our special Open Your Eyes edition of Child Parliament 2023.
Indeed, Sabrina, we had our wonderful guests, all of the children parliamentarians that came on to speak to us about why they should pass this bill, why they should extend the age difference. And then, of course, we had the organizers from the committees of the National Commission of Families and Children, UNICEF, and, of course, the Speaker of the House. So we want to say thank you to all of our guests for stopping by right before the National Children's Parliament begins.
Today is an exciting day.
It is an exciting
April.
day.
As you know, the Children's Parliament 2023 will officially begin at 9 a.m. this morning.
Indeed.
Of course, there are many streaming platforms that you can view the Children's Parliament on this morning. But before we wrap up, we just want to say thank you to our viewers for joining us this morning and learning a bit of the backstory of these young parliamentarians. We also want to say thank you to the organizers, as April said, for making something like this available to our young people
and to the continuation of the rights of a child movement in not just in Belize but around the world. It is November 10th.
Yeah,
I believe, Sabrina. I don't have a birthday shout out. Do you have a birthday
I do
shout
not,
out?
but we want to say if anyone is celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you.
But we do gotta go.
Yeah.
And if you have a birthday shout out or just a question or a comment, you can drop us a line right here at oie@channel5belize.com.
You can also catch us on our Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ,
and all of our highlights on Instagram at OIE Belize. And of course, you can do us the favor to join us again on Monday when you open your eyes.
Start your morning right.
Be sure to keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open.
We'll see you soon, Belize. But right before we go, we have a poem presentation by our parliamentarian, Gabriel Khao. Gabriel?
Children's Parliament 2023. In the year 2023, trillions did unite. Their voice is strong, their future bright. A parliament of young hearts and dreams. A well where hope and change redeems. In this children's parliament, they find their say. A brighter world for a brand new day. With laughter, love, and wisdom to share, they dream of a world that's just and fair. Their laughter echoes, their spirits soar as they knock on the world's mighty door. In unity they stand, no matter the fight, to take the future hand in hand. Their voices rhymes with hope and grace, a world where every child find their place. So let us listen to these voices clearly as they gather round, far and near, for the dreams they dream are buried deep. Their voices pure, their innocence a treasure, but the world they face, a harsh, unyielding measure. As I reflect on their hopes, my heart does ache for the challenges they face, the risk they take. In a world so cold, they strive for change, but often feels like hope in exchange. Their tears remain outspoken, yet I see the sadness in their eyes so vividly. So let their dreams take flight on a hopeful wing. But in this sad conclusion, I'm left to say that we stand beside them, come what may, to protect their dream in sorrow or in light. For the Children's Parliament will continue the fight. Thanks.